Hello, hello, hello. How many of you in here have ever had a situation you thought you couldn't endure? Take a moment and think back to that time in your life when you felt as if you didn't know your way through it, you didn't have the answers, and had no idea what to do. We've all had those moments in our lives, right? Did you believe you had the power to overcome the situation? Or did you bumble through it and discover later that you had the power all along? As a master resilience expert, the one thing that I have learned is that I am a master because I've experienced so many of those times and bounced back. Malcolm Gladwell said, you have to have 10,000 hours in a subject to be an expert. Well, I must be a master and an expert. From all the situations that I've endured to build up my resilience muscles over my entire life. Resilience is defined as the ability to successfully cope with a crisis and return to pre-crisis status quickly. It's when you use mental processes and behaviors in promoting personal assets and protecting a person from the potential negative effects of stressors. You know what I say? Resilience is the power of the bounce back. As a retired airman and an Army wife, I've had numerous times where I've had to bounce back quicker and quicker. Since my husband and I were granted married couple status in the military, this really gave us an opportunity to be stationed together for a while. And then 9/11 happened, and that changed everything. We were separated. I was off to Kuwait. He was off to Iraq. Deployment after deployment. We thought we'd never be together again. But not just because of the distance, but because of the imminent danger we were both in. 1 year, we only got to see each other for 10 days. Can you imagine being married to someone and never seeing them? For some, that might be a blessing. I'm just saying. But I tell you, it really takes a toll. After a short time, we were back together again, and we planned our beautiful daughter, Monet. When Monet was just 3 years old, Mommy had to leave for Afghanistan. This was the most devastating news to be pulled from my baby. Working long hours in the middle of a war zone. But like we all know, service before self. Again, working long hours in the middle of a war zone, listening to bombs go off daily, paying reverence to one soldier after another, waiting in long lines to get a phone call home, hoping that someone would connect. This was almost unbearable. And then just when I'm preparing to go home and be reunited with my family, more disappointing news. My husband, he won't be there when I return. Off to another deployment. The first thing I remember thinking is, will Monet even remember me? Did I have the power to get through this again? See, in the past, I would go to my knees for prayers and guidance. But see, this time, I went to my knees in crippling debt that I incurred. I went shopping. I went shopping. And I didn't stop. I spent it all. I decided Monet, she needed all things Elmo. And James needed 5 TVs, and he wasn't even home. But after looking at the overwhelming amount of bills that I racked up, after not checking the mail ever, I realized that I did not have a system of coping skills in place to get through these times. Yes, I sought help. Fast forward, I later became a master resilience instructor. This leadership opportunity was given to me because my leaders recognized what I had gone through, how I overcame some tough times, but more importantly, my ability to connect with others about their experiences. You know what I found? That there is a system. There are strategies and there are tools to get us through these hard times in those dark moments when we need it the most. This sense has become my mission. It's become my mission, my purpose to help others navigate themselves through tough times and help them find their own power of the bounce back. So how do we do this? How do we do this together? Because it takes a community, right? Dr. Andrew Schatz and Dr. Karen Rivage, they wrote the book, The Resilience Factor. They conducted research. This book of strategies and tools is what I am trained to teach. When you learn daily practices on how to raise your confidence, pause and reset, and build better relationships, you will overcome. You will bounce back. See, resilience training is based on 6 core competencies. Self-awareness is first. Emotional thermostat, optimism, mental agility, strength of character, and connection. First, self-awareness. It's when you focus your attention on yourself and you begin to evaluate your current behavior to your standards and values, which are based on your what? Your past experiences. It's when you look at yourself without the attachment of good or bad, and you start to recognize patterns and beliefs and skills that you have that are either effective or ineffective. It's when you look at yourself when you're at peace. I got to say that again. When you're at peace. And when you start to manage your emotions and thoughts and your behaviors, proactively managing them. But how do you do this? You use your emotional thermostat. And then you begin to shift from pessimism to optimism. And you begin to find hope and feel good. But we all know you can't go from what? Hopeless to excited for life in an instant. So I need you to do this. I need you to turn that dial and change your perspective. Give yourself what I like to call a pip slap. Put it in perspective. This builds your resilience muscles and prepares you for the bounce back, right? As humans, we're wired for connection. We're wired for connection. We seek it out in good times. But what if we promised ourselves we do the same during bad times? Can you imagine a world where everyone connected and supported each other? Let's imagine. No more hiding in silence. No more suffering in silence. When we build better relationships, look at our community. Look at your neighbor. Hello. Furthermore, when you use all of these strengths and all of these core competencies, you begin to get your strength of character. When you look at the things in the past, like the thing I had you bring up in the beginning, you will come to find that you really already had the power. You had it all along. And you know that mastery I was talking about, that 10,000 mastery, 10,000 hours, you've already had it. I have mastered. Surely you have had it as well. Just like in The Wizard of Oz, I love this. They were all searching for characteristics externally. But what they come to find is they've already had them. Glinda the Good Witch says, you had the power. I like to say it like this. You had the power all along. You had to find it for yourself. Well, I'm no Glinda, but I tell you this. You have the power to overcome, to endure, and come out better, not despite the tough times, but because of them. I need you to know this. You have the power of the bounce back. Thank you. Thank you.